Palantir and Microsoft are two prominent companies that are harnessing the power of artificial intelligence most effectively. Each of these two companies has benefited from the growth in AI. But which one is the better AI stock to buy for 2025 and beyond? I'm going to answer that question in this video. I know it's a difficult comparison because of the difference in size of these two companies, Microsoft being so much larger than Palantir. But I'm going to try and make this comparison with growth rates, operating profit margin comparisons, looking at the cash flow from operations to sales, which is more similar than you might expect, and then looking at the valuation of these two AI companies to determine which one I think would make a better investment, all things considered, for long-term investors beginning in 2025 and beyond.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
So to adjust for the difference in scale of these two companies, instead of looking at overall revenue and comparing that number, I'm comparing them on revenue growth rates, the rate of improvement. And this favors Palantir when you're looking at two companies with such a size differential. When looking at the rates of improvement, it favors the smaller company. And so looking at this, you can see Palantir re-accelerating growth here, and so has Microsoft. Palantir's growth rates were falling from over 50% in 2021 all the way down close to 12% in 2023, and it has since accelerated several consecutive quarters now, and up to 30% revenue growth in the most recent quarter for Palantir. And this is the reason why most investors have gotten really excited about Palantir stock, is this re-acceleration in growth rates, while at the same time improving profitability on the bottom line. Microsoft has also re-accelerated growth. It was experiencing a similar downward trend as Palantir, as most tech companies in 2022. Remember, the higher interest rates caused a panic among tech companies, fearing a recession, and so they started cutting costs and cutting spending, and that impacted the entire tech industry almost. And Microsoft and Palantir were both affected by that negatively. And now the recovery looks to be taking shape, and Microsoft benefiting as well. Its revenue growth rate increasing to 16%. Looking ahead, let's say the next 5 years, I expect Palantir to have better revenue growth than Microsoft by a meaningful margin. So I would say at least 5 percentage points. If Microsoft grows revenue in the next 5 years by 10%, I would expect Palantir to grow revenue in that same time at 15%. So comparing the two based on whatever macroeconomic scenario over the next 5 years, I expect Palantir will beat Microsoft by at least 5 percentage points in any scenario, in any macroeconomic scenario. Comparing the two on operating profit margin paints a different picture. Microsoft highlights a very strong operating profit margin of close to 45%. While Palantir is improving, it's still considerably behind. And here's where scale benefits Microsoft. Because it's a larger company with larger scale, it makes it easier to generate these profit margins at higher scale. Palantir has the potential to get there, and even better, has the potential for that. If they continue growing at these rates with these kinds of improvements, you can see a 13.8% operating margin, which is so much better than where they were in 2021 at negative 60%. So they're already demonstrating strong performance improvement. And if they continue these trend lines, it wouldn't surprise me if 5 years from now, Palantir matches or exceeds Microsoft in terms of operating profit margins. They have all the ingredients to have a company with operating profit margins that exceed Microsoft. And these are excellent profit margins. Microsoft has excellent profit margins, and Palantir has the potential to exceed those. And that can explain why so many investors are excited. Another reason why so many investors are excited about Palantir stock. When we look at cash flow from operations, Palantir is much more in line with Microsoft already, and it's still early days for Palantir in improving this metric. I say early days, the company's been around for almost 2 decades, but early days in terms of improving their profitability and cash flow metrics. For the better part of the last 2 decades, it didn't appear that Palantir was interested very much in improving profitability and cash flow metrics. But in the last 2 years, I would say there's been an increased focus attention in these metrics. And just in those 2 years where there was attention paid to these metrics, they've demonstrated this kind of progress. Microsoft at 48%, still ahead of Palantir at 37.6%, but Palantir showing tremendous progress. Microsoft showing improvement as well, but the rate of improvement goes to Palantir in the advantage. The return on invested capital, similar story with Microsoft being well ahead at 29% compared to 12% for Palantir, but Palantir showing better improvement in this regard as well. Now, if these two companies were trading at the same valuation, I would pick Palantir as the better stock to buy. No brainer, right? It's a no brainer. Palantir is demonstrating better revenue growth, better improvement in all the critical metrics, even though it's behind Microsoft in some of the profitability metrics, its improvement in those categories is much better than Microsoft. But they're not trading at the same valuation. In fact, Palantir stock on a forward price to earnings basis is trading at nearly 5 times the valuation of Microsoft. Nearly 5 times that. Is trading at a forward price to earnings of 148 compared to a forward PE of 29 for Microsoft. So while I do believe Palantir is the better investment, is the better company at this stage in terms of improvement, I don't believe it deserves a 5x premium to Microsoft. You can argue for a 2x premium to Microsoft, maybe between 2x and 3x premium to Microsoft. I would argue a 2x premium would be more in line with what the financial metrics and competitive advantages warrant. But I would be open to an argument of 3x. But a 5x, I feel, is too much. And so if I was to pick one of these two stocks to buy for 2025 and beyond, I would pick Microsoft just because of the discounted valuation. It's trading at a fraction of the price of Palantir. Now, Palantir is an excellent business. It's just the stock has gotten so expensive. So much of those excellent prospects are incorporated into the valuation. So for that reason, I would pick Microsoft over Palantir right now as the better AI stock to buy.
Hey everyone, if you like watching my videos, then I've added a great complimentary product just for you. I've written a book that's available for sale now that highlights my 6-step investing framework. Even if you don't follow that investing framework, just reading it and knowing how I evaluate stocks will make it a lot more interesting and informative to watch my videos. I've added the link in the description below.